Like keeping birds, you can obviously need somewhere to put your birds. Behind me I've got a cage here which is just pretty much an old cage which someone gave to me. Does need repainting really, but it's just demonstration anyway, so it doesn't really make much difference. The first thing you're going to need to do before you think about putting anything inside your cage is to check it. You need to go and check all the cracks and crannies, run your hands over it and to feel if there's anything sharp. I know over here I've left a screw in there, but it doesn't matter, so this is just for demonstration, so it doesn't really matter too much. I will take that out. You need to make sure, as I said, there's no cracks and crannies in there, so little mites can get in and out and hide in there. So if there is, paint them over with some eggshell paint or something non-toxic. And then basically you go through and check to see if there's any sharp bits in there, jagged bits of wood sticking out, bits of metal, anything that the bird could possibly hurt itself on. And then check it. You check the top, bottom, back, sides, everything, and even the perches, the wires. Before you put the wires in, you need to make sure. Obviously, these won't be. These are brand new wires, so they won't be. But when you do, you need to check. Even brand new ones, you still need to check really. Make sure there's no rust on there, because these are powder coated. These are stainless steel, obviously, and they've been powder coated. So you need to go over and make sure that they've been painted properly, basically, and they don't have little bits of metal which are sharp sticking through, or sharp bits of paint. If there is, you can often sand it down, etc., or file it down, whatever. Use something that's smooth, so you get a nice smooth finish on there. And then when you've done that, you need to make sure that you've got everything that you need to go in there. And unfortunately, the only thing I don't have at the moment, which I'm going to show you in a moment, which is fake foliage. This is all pretend. It's quite cheap stuff to buy. It's just to colour it up for the birds. It gives them somewhere to hide and something to do when it's in there. And I will explain this a bit more in a minute. I'm going to be using drawing pins to just to pin it up. But unfortunately, these are brass, and I don't have the ones that I wanted. The ones that I wanted were they're powder coated, basically like a plastic coating over the top, so if the birds peck on it, they're not going to get any kind of metal poisoning. So I'm going to use these anyway, but as I say, it's only for demonstration, so you won't have to improvise really. But if you do use drawing pins, try and get the plastic coated ones. They've got like I think it is plastic, or they've been powder coated of some kind. But you probably could paint them up or something. It's up to you, as long as it's not metal, is it not exposed. This is another thing I was gonna. Well, I did mention in an earlier video. Excuse me. Right, when you buy these usually come in 1.6 or 1.8 metre lengths. When you cut these down, you find that all the way through they have the same diameter all the way around. They're nice and smooth. They're almost perfect. So, and you can get different diet. Like these ones here, they're slightly different. This one's a thinner one, and this one's a bit thicker. To be honest, it's not really good for the bird's feet. What you want is to get yourself a Stanley blade or knife, and I will warn you, when you use these, don't cut towards you, because if it slips, you're going to end up in a hospital or something. So you always cut away, and you cut like a U sort of shape. You cut into it, then just to take some bits off, etc., and just take some chunks out of it, so that when the bird stands on it, it doesn't have the same diameter all the way, or else later on in life it will suffer from arthritis or rheumatism, because it's a bit like doing the same job over and over and over and over again. If you're working on a computer keyboard for many years, over a period of time you'll get arthritis in your fingers, because your fingers are always doing that all the time. It's the same with the bird. If they keep the same diameter on their feet, it does interfere. It will affect him later on in life. So it is good to take loads of chunks out. So basically, you've got different diameters and different textures as well. You don't want it all smooth all the time, because in the wild, perches are not really smooth all the time. They may come across a few that are, but most of the time it's all different textures. That's what they like. It's good for their feet. And I would do it with all of them, all the way across. So you've got different. You can make it really thin. You can make some parts thin, some of them really thick and chunky, like I've done. I was going to bring some out, but to be honest, they're all in use at the moment. So, right. So you've done that. So say for instance you've done that. Right. The next thing you're going to want is you're going to want some kind of bedding for your floor. Now, it's probably a good thing to do is to hoover the bottom out, or hoover everything really. And then before you put anything in there, wash it down. Wash it, hoover it, or hoover it and wash it. It doesn't matter what way. It's just to make sure every bit, all the rubbish is out. And if you do need to, if it's like quite a dirty cage or etc., sterilise it and clean it. And then when you've done that, paint it. And then you can paint in all the cracks and crannies, and there's no hiding places and that. And so that in your own mind, you know that the birds you'll put in the cage that you're putting your birds into will be clean. Next one is bedding. You don't have to use this, you can pretty much, some people prefer newspaper or straw even, it's up to you. I use this because it's quite cheap for me to get, and I use the stuff by a company called Easy Bed, and basically what it is, this is just wood chip. It's a type of, it's pine, or it does smell like pine, because sometimes you get a mixture of I'm trying to think of what it's called now, conifer. They use conifers in there as well, and it's just basically all ground down. It's all safe for your birds. And what you want to do is get yourself a nice little thin layer across the floor. Don't have to be too much, just a couple of centimetres thick. And what this will do, there is a good thing about this and there's a bad thing about it. When you're using this stuff, it absorbs all the moistures and it absorbs it, and it's good because you don't get many wet spots, because it absorbs the moisture and eventually it evaporates and you end up with all the poops collected on there, stuck to there, and when you go to clean it out, it all comes out in one go pretty much. It's all the poo stuck to the bottom, and there's very little cleaning. On the downside, well, it's a positive side as well, because it's cheap. But on the downside, there is, if you've got a sick bird and you want to get a poo sample, so you can put it under the microscope, it's quite difficult, because as soon as it lands on there, it kind of scatters, and then it all sticks all over the other pieces, because it's all very small. Quite, it's not sawdust. It's nowhere near it. But when the poo lands on it, it spreads, and it's very hard to get a real good sample out of it. So, and you can't tell the bird has diarrhea or anything like that, because if you want to have a look in there, you just don't really see it. It disappears. It disappears amongst the bottom. Also, underneath, you can get places where the mites want to live. So it does need to be checked. It does need to be hoovered out after you clean it. After you clean all this stuff out and replace it, then before you replace it, you need to hoover it out, and just checking the corners as well, because this can be a breeding ground. So, but it's not bad. It's quite cheap to use. It's quite good actually. I've never really had any problems with it, apart from whenever I want to take a poop sample. But then what I do is I put a bit of paper. Sometimes the birds don't like standing on a perch when there's a bit of paper under them. It makes them feel a bit sketchy, and they don't want to sit there. They want to sit somewhere else. So what you do is you get a clear piece of polythene or something, maybe some kind of wrapper or something, some food packaging. As long as it's clear and it's see-through, they don't bother so much about it. It doesn't bother them. So you can put that underneath them. Then when they've pooped on it, you can take it out and get an almost perfect sample. So, but this is just. Like I say, it's only a demonstration. I don't plan on putting any birds in here at the moment, because all my cage is taken up, and Yeah, you've got about 2 centimetres, about 2 centimetre thickness in there, a little bit more. And you make sure all your utilities are clean, your drinkers, and I'm just using these. I mean, I'm going to use these for feeders. You could use one for food, one for water, or you could use one for food for the seed and the other one for little treats, and then you have the regular drinker, and that goes for your wire, and you just use that for your water, etc. Right, so that's all the plastics. This stuff, the fake foliage, it's kind of optional. You could, if you wanted to, I don't know if you can see, you could wrap it round the branches, you know, and make it so that the birds have got, it kind of looks more realistic, you know, a bit like having ivy around branches in the wild, and birds do. They often, you know, they'll play amongst that, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And you can put it down like that, so that the birds can stand there at night time. They hide behind the leaves, and they'll sleep behind that. They're quite happy to do that, no problem at all. And you don't really have to put a lot of this stuff in. I mean, you can if you like. It's up to you. Before I do this, I just wanted to show you something anyway, the measurements of the cage, because I'm sure some of you are thinking, what size cage is that? And to be honest, this size cage, you're really only going to get about one pair of finches in there. Really, it's kind of pushing it. And I'm thinking at the moment for Gordians or shaft-tails or maybe zebras or something. But I would only put one pair in there, with 2 birds, with 2 females, 2 males, or you know, 1 female, 1 male. It's up to you. But this is about, I'm sure it's about 2.5 foot cage. Yeah, this is a 2.5 foot long by 1.5 foot high, and the depth is about it's 1 foot from back to front. It's 1 foot, so it gives you an idea on the diameters of it. So the specifications, however you want to put it. Right, these cost me £3 something, £3.50 each, and I got these from Wade's Cage Fronts. I thought they were quite cheap. If you buy them in bulk, you save quite a lot of money, and because they will give you a discount. And the quality, the quality of these are fantastic. That's Wade's. I don't really like advertising for other companies, but these were good. These were very, very good. I was very, very happy with these, and there's no problems with the doors getting stuck. They just done a really overall good job. And they do various types. They don't just do these. They do all sorts. They got. They do much bigger ones, much smaller if you needed them. But this is. I got the ones that fit the cages, and they just fit perfect. So that's what I got. I'm hoping. Yeah. Well, these ones I forgot. These ones go up underneath. I've kind of made a slight adjustment to these, so they will fit. So they will fit the other way upside down. So there's one. And I know the cage doesn't look fantastic, but not everybody's got brand new cage. All my cages in the front room, they're all brand new built. They're all perfect in pretty much every way. These are, like I said, I had a couple of these given to me, and I'm just using this just to show you guys, really, because you may want to build your own cages or something. Not everybody's got. Not everybody's financially. You know. This one's going to give me a hard time. Always the same, isn't it? Normally it goes straight in. So it's only because it's on. Only because I'm videoing it. Right. Let's see if we can get this to go in. Yeah, holes are not lining up. Right. There we go. Yeah, we'll go in. Here we go. Knew it. Right. So, he's in there. Right. The first thing you want to do after that is get your perches in there. Now, where you put your perches is quite important. You're going to want to put them where they're not too high up, or else they can't get on the perches, or you know, you put them too high up, and then they're if you've got Gordians, they'll start stargazing, where they start tilting their head back and forward and backwards and forwards, and eventually they'll fall off the perch. I like to put them about halfway or just lower than halfway. So you've got one about there, maybe a little bit too close to the wall. We don't want it too close to the wall, so there you go. And they don't have to be perfect. Try to put different thicknesses in there as well. You don't want all the same thicknesses. So, and you do want more than 2 perches. I've seen cages where they only have 1 perch in there, and it's just ridiculous. I don't know what they expect the bird to do with 1 perch. You know, just hop up and down or something. I don't know. It's not healthy for the birds. The more perches they get, the happier they are normally. And if you're wondering how these are stuck on, at one end of these, what I've done is I banged a nail into it, a small nail, and then it's more of a tack really. And then I banged it in so far, maybe about 1 centimetre. Then I cut the end off with a pair of pliers so it's sharp. And then the other end's got like a little groove down it so it fits into the bars. And then what I do is I put it through the bars first, like so, and then I bring the back down, etc. That one's been pushed in a little bit too far. I need to pull that one back out, but it doesn't matter for now. I think this one will reach. We'll just do 3 perches for now. Yeah, there you go. Right. What you've got to remember is when you put these in, there are holes on the front where the drinkers go. So you need to make sure that we put the perch next to it, or else the bird is not going to be able to get to it. So you've got the perch there. The perch is like that, and that is right next to it. So the bird can stand on there, lean over, and get a drink at the same height, etc. Yeah. So we'll put the holder in there. There we go. And then we'll put that through there. See, like so. And now the bird can stand on there, lean over, and get himself a drink, no problem. But I'll take that off just for the moment, so you can see what I'm doing. Food dish. These just hatch on. So I would come through this way, and I would probably put it up nearer to the middle, so you've got your food dish there. What I did want to show you, this is like hemp string. It's quite harmless for the birds, so they don't mind. They'll play on it. And what I normally do is I get a little piece, etc. And then I just wanted to show you, just to save some birds and boredom, because a lot of finches do get bored in cages. They've got nothing to do, and a lot of people have really no idea. They just think, well, I'll put the birds in there, 1 perch or 2 perches, a bit of food and water, and they're happy. And they're not. What you do is you put something like that, tie a really nice tight knot, because birds are clever. You'd be very, very surprised they will get knots undone. And you just put that upside down in your perch, on your perch, and put that inside your cage. The birds will normally pick it up and they will pull it. It's good exercise for them. It's a bit of mental stimulation. It gives them something to do. So you can, like I say, you just hang that in there. It may not look fantastic to you, but to the bird it's good. Give a bit of mental exercise. You put a couple of pieces of foliage in there. So where you put it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can tack it to the wall, flat to the wall. It's up to you. I mean, it's quite easy because it's a type of plastic, and it's very easy to clean. You can just soak it in hot water, hot soapy water, and it will eventually just come off. So, all right, we'll put some in there anyway, and if you get a smart bird, you may find. If you get a smart bird, you may find he's actually pulled it off, so just be warned about that sometimes. But when you lay it out, you want to try and lay it out so it's kind of natural, so it's a bit natural looking. Let's try and find this. There we go, we've got it, I think. No, yep, there it is. Don't want to be treading on that. And then the other piece, the end, should I say? Just there we go. piece there. Put another piece in. And I do seem to be dropping quite a lot of these drawing pins today. Right, and we'll put another piece on the other side. I mean, you could bunch it up if you wanted to, so it looks really bushy. I mean, the birds will love it. I mean, birds really enjoy like the little bushy areas where they can sort of play around, especially if they're shaft owls. So shaft owls or long-tailed finches, they really enjoy the grassy pieces and where it's all bushy and dense. They just love to play. So we've got one piece there. Another piece on. So I'm only just putting it together quickly, just to give you a rough idea, really. So, I mean, you could put, like I say, you could put 2 of these in if you wanted to, which I'll probably do for now. And you want them up quite high, because birds don't like to eat low down. They really, I mean, I know people put the dishes on the floor, but you'll find most birds, they don't feel safe eating on the floor. They're always up and looking about. But if you put them high, they'll spend more time in the food dish, and they will eat pretty much everything you put in there. And let's say you've got that in there, the drinks. And you don't have to worry about nesting boxes, etc., and things like that. They don't need nesting boxes, unless it's the time of year whether you want them to breed. It's entirely up to you. But like I say, I've got quite a lot of this stuff. I mean, I could just chuck all that in there really, and just tack it all down, make it look fantastic. But then it'd probably be too much, and they've got nowhere to hide. And then once you've got your water in there and your food. And there was another thing I was going to show you as well. Whenever I set a cage up, I like to put one of these in. This is basically a light socket, and then I like to put it at the back. I don't know if you can see. I'll put it on the other side. Right, if I take these in now, I'll take back in now. Right. I put them like basically just above the perch, right above the perch, see? And then I'll screw it down, connect all the wires up obviously first, screw it down, and then I'll put a plug on the other end, and then I'll blank that off. You can buy blankets anyway, or if you haven't got that, you could probably put something around it and tie it off. And then the idea is, if you don't have enough light in the place that you've got, you can buy a natural daylight bulb, which burns in the blue spectrum, or the blue-white, or even just white. Which white is 4,000 Kelvin. If you want a tint of blue to it, which is a slightly ultraviolet to the bluer spectrum, you probably end up 6,400 kelvins. That will give it a blue tint, and you find that they're nice and bright. Also, they're handy if you get a bird. Say you don't even need the light. If you get a bird that's very ill, and you think, oh, I've got no hospital cage, where am I going to put my bird? He's sick, he needs heat, it's all fluffed up. The first thing they do, they fluff up when their bird is ill. They normally fluff up because they're trying to conserve heat. Simply turning or putting a light bulb in there, not an energy saver one, because they don't emit enough heat. You want a proper normal, the round type light bulbs, which I've got above my head. I don't really want to get it out here, but you put that in there, and it will 40 to 60 watt bulb, and if you have a sick bird in there, he will stand right next to it to keep warm. The first signs of a sick bird, if you do have that in there, if you put a light in there and the bird's standing next to it all the time, that's a sign of a sick bird, because a sick bird don't sit next to a light all the time. And then, if it does, the alarm bell should be ringing. But I'll say I like to put this in there because you never know. In a hurry, if you do have a bird that's ill, all you have to do is just switch that bulb on, or just uncover it, put the bulb in, then switch it on. And then you haven't got to worry about, oh my god, I've got to set up a hospital cage, I've got to do this, and I've got to do, what am I going to do? It's simple. You just basically go in, put your bulb in, switch it on, and that's your problem solved. The bird will stand next to it, keep warm, and it gives you time to put a little bit clear foil underneath him, wait for him to poop, and then you take it out and you can do your little, you can look at it and you can tell by the poo most of the time, not always, but most of the time you'll get a rough idea on what's wrong with the bird. It just gives you a head start. So I don't know what else I can. Oh yeah, the cage isn't quite finished yet. This is an iodine block. You could probably it's had to go. I've used it. This come out of another cage. I've just put a new one in. But you could hang one of these in there, but always hang them above the perch where the birds can easily get to them. There is one other thing you're thinking. Where's the cuttle bone? So, like I say, you only need a small piece of cuttlefish, just a little bit, and then you just poke it through the wires on the inside. That's about all you need, a piece that size. Poke it through, so that when the bird needs to sharpen its beak or claws, etc., or it needs a little bit of calcium, and then they will get it off the cuttlefish. But it's not really so much for calcium, because the calcium don't really come from this. I know it is calcium, but the birds the birds' bodies don't take the calcium up. That's why we have to supplement them with liquid calcium, or give them plenty of eggshells, because this stuff they'll munch it and most of the time it just goes straight through them. But it's good for sharpening their beaks, definitely. So other than that, that cage is pretty much ready to go. Like I say, once that was wired in, but if you connect it up to the mains, even if it's not switched on or whatever, make sure that is covered over if there's no bulb in there, because the birds will peck in there, and there is metals, so you don't want them pecking at the metal. So you just cover it over with something. I think you can buy caps, blankets or something, and if you can't, then you could probably put something over it, a piece of cloth all the way over it, and tie it off with something. Make sure it's tight, because they can actually pick it off. But in a hurry, if you ever do get a sick bird in your cage and you're in a hurry, you don't have to worry about running around trying to set up a hospital cage straight away, because all you do is put a light bulb in, as I said, and then they'll get adequate heat. They can sit next to it, and that is one big worry off your mind, because that's the first thing you're going to need in the case of an emergency, is heat. So other than that, I think that would probably conclude that video. So pretty much that cage is ready to go. So I'll see you in the next video.